thank you. And thank you everybody for showing up on a very cold, wintry, snowy morning. I appreciate it. My name is Jeff. I think almost everybody here knows me, except maybe Civil. And I have been at Teaching Research for almost 10 years. Come October, it'll be my 10th year anniversary here. I work in the Tim Center with Patty and Andrea and a couple of other folks. And I'm primarily an internet and mobile application developer and graphic designer, database person, when I have to be. And this morning I wanted to talk about creating an online promotion portfolio. Last year I went up for promotion, and so I thought I'd give you some hints and tips on how to do that. And I know you're looking at me and you're thinking, well, Jeff, you're a web guy. You shouldn't even be promoted unless you can put your portfolio on the internet, right? And I get that, and that's exactly what I was thinking. As I was considering, laying out my portfolio and looking at other people's portfolios from years past that are in these big fat binders and stuff, and I thought, gosh, why would I put mine in a binder and have people reference, please see page 38, figure 2, when, it's a screenshot or something. So I didn't want to do that. And so I talked with my mentoring committee that was, John Cloran, Christina Regal, and Gail Leslie. And I tossed the idea by them, and I said, I don't think anybody's done this before, but is it okay if I put my entire portfolio online? And they said, well, I don't know. Try it, and let's see how it goes. And so I commend them for being forward-thinking enough to kind of let me do that. And it seems to have worked out okay. Before I go any further, the Tim Center has a new blog, or will have, let you know, Patty, next week. I know Ron Schwartzendruber has been fighting a massive spam attack over there, so he hasn't been able to get it set up yet. But hopefully next week it will be available, and I'll have the presentation and hopefully the video and some notes and links and all that good stuff up there. So I'll send out an email to TR letting everybody know when that's up. So you don't have to scribble furiously as I'm talking or rambling, as the case may be. So let's get into it. Why would you want to do this? Why would you want to go down this path of putting your stuff online? Well, first of all, it's more entertaining, engaging, and I think compelling. You can tell a story online in a way that sometimes you can't do, or it's more difficult to do in print. Second thing is you have a lot of content flexibility for what you can do online. Obviously, you can do movies, screencast, animated charts, and graphs, and good fun stuff like that, and really kind of draw the, think of your portfolio reviewers. They're doing you a big favor. Like, make this kind of engaging and fun for them, because they're going to have to, especially this year, they're going to have to look at a lot of portfolios. You don't have to print anything. No hole punching, no binding, no fussing with paper and binders and printing 3 or 4 of them. There is a small caveat to that, which we'll talk about later. But basically, you don't have to deal with paper, and in my world, that's a good thing. There's also some drawbacks to this. You think, well, great, I don't have to make this big fat binder, woo-wee. Well, this is not going to be simpler. It's probably going to be more difficult, and it might take more time, especially in the planning stage. So it's not an easy way out, definitely. You're going to use, I'm going to introduce a few tools for doing this a little more simply. A lot of them you'll already know about. But getting familiar with them is difficult. It's not easy. And I don't know about you, but it seems like some days, like the hardest thing I do all day is format. So why are my bullets gone? Why did my headers turn pink? Oh, there's an image there, but I backspaced it into oblivion when I was editing, And so that's, we've all run into that kind of stuff, and these tools are prone to that. So it takes time, and if you're under a time crunch, which I think, people who are going up for promotion kind of are at this point, you might put it off for your next promotion endeavor. And a couple of disclaimers. This isn't for everybody. If your portfolio lends itself nicely to just written narrative and your evidence is mostly in print format, either already in print format, or you don't really have a lot of Excel charts or graphs or screenshots to show, then do a binder. There's still room for that. I might also add, this isn't an endorsement, tacit or otherwise, by the Teaching Research Institute to say we all need to do this. This is the way we're going. It's not. We're not. Nobody's enforcing that we move down this path toward putting everybody's portfolio online. It's a choice. So step one, as you do with anything, is prepare and plan. But this is a little different. Crafting your portfolio can be daunting and scary, and it can be a huge challenge. At least it was for me. Taking everything that you've done at TR and sort of putting it into a story, it's not easy for a lot of people. But it is a way to tell your TRA story, and you should think of it as that. It makes it a little easier for things to come forth. It's like, oh, this is what I do here, and I think it's cool. And here, let me show you how cool it is. Outline your narrative and supporting evidence for your primary domains. And I'm not going to go through what the primary domains are because I can't remember. But get at least a rough outline of everything that you're going to throw on the table and try to talk about. And then look those over and decide which elements lend themselves nicely to different media types. Can you do a screencast here? Can you do some screenshots over there? And if you don't know the differences, a screenshot is a static screenshot. Screencast is actually where you go, you do a video of what's on your screen and you do a voiceover narrative and you talk about what you're doing and you kind of show what's happening on the screen. It's a video format. You might dedicate an entire day or maybe a Saturday afternoon or whatever to familiarize yourself with the tools you think that you're going to be using. Sit down and try them out. Try to create something with them. If it's not working for you, maybe you back off and you say, well, I'm not using that tool, or I'm just going to go with a print format for now, or whatever. Don't overdo it. We don't want, your reviewers probably don't want things sliding in from the left and the right and from the top and boing, and we don't need gratuitous video and animations and stuff like that. And it's easy to overdo it. I do that. I find a new tool or a new effect or whatever, and I want to try it out, and it's fun. But 2 years later, you look back and you go, wow, that was a little overdone. So just be conservative. And right now, I'd like to show you kind of what, in my mind, we're talking about, and look at the online portfolio that I did. You'll notice it is rather conservative. It's not too whiz-bang. It's fairly clean. Nothing on the home page except links. But I did do a couple of things. And let's see, one of them was, well, let me get into some of my narrative. Let's go to candidate statement. So the nice thing about a web-based portfolio is you can add links. They're nice. So I babble on and on about my early years with computers, and I wanted to show there's my first computer. You link to it. Nice. And yeah, that was a long time ago. Commodore 64, yeah. Some of us know those. And so just linking to things instead of flipping back and forth and look at this and go back 3 pages and look at that. It's just link to it. It makes things easy. Another thing that I did was I created an infographic for myself, and this was not my idea. It was actually Christina's idea. As I had my first meeting with my portfolio mentoring committee, Christina said, hey, Jeff, I don't really think I know what it is that you do. And as a mentor on your committee, it would be helpful if I knew what you did day in and day out at the office. And it occurred to me, probably there's a lot of people like that, and certainly among my review committee members, there's going to be a few people who don't know what I do. And I think we can probably all safely assume that there's a lot of people that don't know what any of us do. And that's okay, normally, but when you're kind of telling your story, you should be able to explain pretty quickly, hey, here's what I do, here's why I like it, here's why I do it, here's why it's compelling, here's why you should think it's interesting. And I don't know if I accomplished that with this infographic, but it was a lot of fun. And I basically laid out, here are the technologies I work with. Here's kind of on the, use my pointer, right-hand side, it sort of breaks the technologies into discrete chunks. Here's a little donut graph of the projects I've completed at Teaching Research. Here's my fiscal impact. Here's the money I brought in. Aren't I great? Rah, rah. So, you know, all of that stuff you want to get in there. And down at the very bottom, I explain what the different technologies are all about and what they do. So it's pretty simple. I created this with Photoshop, but I'll show you a tool, or I'll talk a little bit about a tool. I'm not going to do a lot of demos here because live demos go bad. But yeah, why doesn't that work? It worked yesterday. There is an online infographic tool that is really pretty cool, and it's easy to use, and you can whip up one of these things pretty quickly. Oh, the other thing I used outside of the website here itself, which I built, is Behance. I have a Behance portfolio. And if you don't know what Behance is, it's basically a place to drop, you know, to brag about yourself. You put pictures of work you've done, or screencasts of work you've done, videos of work you've done, and you talk about it, and you just throw it out there for the world. They can be, your projects can be, you know, private or public, whatever you decide them to be. But I used my Behance, oh, come on. Be nice. There we go. So from my website, you can, you can link right to a Behance portfolio item of mine. And there's some intro text. There's a nice little screenshot. Here's some introduction. And, you know, there's a screencast. And let's bump it up a bit. Let's turn off the sound. Let's stop the video. I can't turn off the sound for some reason. So there's a little screencast that I did with some narrative, and then it's just mostly breaking the project up into different components, putting some screenshots in, and that's it. And I did that with, I don't know, half a dozen of my projects. Now my letters of support, basically I just scan them in and, you know, scan them to a PDF and link them as you would any other document. These I actually put on my website, but you can drop these in, you know, Google Drive or Dropbox, grab a link, post it into your site, and you're good to go. So as a web developer, I built all this from scratch because that's what I like to do, believe it or not. And, you know, I acquired my own hosting account, and I got my own domain name, and went through all of that. Nobody wants to do that, I'm fairly certain. So there are a couple, lost my presentation, here we go. Yes. Let's go, okay. So what you want to do is regardless of what you do, you want to find an online home. That's sort of a starting point. That's the URL that you're going to give your reviewers, because you're not going to give them a binder. So you want to figure out some place to put your stuff, and kind of an entry door into the rest of your portfolio. My two recommendations would be Squarespace and WordPress. I think we all pretty much know what WordPress is. It's free. If you just get a generic WordPress domain name, so you can have, you know, jeffsportfolio.wordpress.com or whatever, and that'll be free. And it's a blog format, so you can craft pages with links. You can drop media into those pages. I would submit that Squarespace is probably actually a better product, and it's worth paying $8 a month for. Because, in my opinion, it's more professional, it's easier to use, and the templates are just gorgeous. So let's see if I can get bloggers. Yeah, and they're mobile formatted automatically. Not terribly relevant for portfolio work, but it's nice. And I played around with Squarespace a little bit. I had all these ambitions of like recreating my portfolio in a Squarespace site and showing you how easy it is, and I ran out of time. So, but in playing with the tools a little bit, it really is easy. It's easier than using Word. It's easier than using WordPress. You know, dropping videos and images and embedding stuff is really straightforward. It's easy. It's in-page editing. So, for example, with WordPress, You would log into an administration area and you'd write a blog post. And then you go back to the live site and you'd look at it. With Squarespace, you just go to your site, you log in, and you're there. You know, you land on a page and you start editing it. So it's really intuitive. You don't got to go there and then go back here. It's all inline editing right where you are. So it's a very good product, and for personal use, it's $8 a month. Yes, Gail?
Well, I'm wondering, could people use some other product, you know, like you could use Web Publisher, or you could use something else, Adobe, to create your product and put it just on put your files on your public drive, not your H, but like, for me it's P. Everybody has a public drive.
Right.
It produces a URL. When you put things into onto the drive and into folders, you get a URL. Do people do that too?
You could do that, but then you're dealing with files and saving them, and oh, I saved it in the wrong spot, and what is my directory structure like? Do I save my images locally, or do I, you know, I think there's some questions there that need to be answered by people that would make things a little more complicated. You could do that, yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I just think that some of these tools are a little bit more intuitive, yeah, to just get right on going. But yes, you could do that. So after you've decided on a front door for your portfolio, we'll move forward into any other questions to this point? We all good? Okay. Creating and hosting your media. So you've laid out your material for your portfolio. What's your narrative going to look like? What's your supporting evidence going to look like? And you've kind of picked out a handful of things that you want to turn into some type of media, be it a video or a chart or what have you. And here are some options for doing that. Behance we just looked at. Prezi, that's what this presentation is running on, and it's kind of good for a step-by-step sort of flow that's a little bit more engaging than just a flow chart or something. YouTube, we know what that is. Infogram is the infographics creator that I was talking to you about, and it's really pretty cool. It has a free, and all of these tools I should say are free. They have a free level anyway. You create an account, you log in, and you select a design. And this is really the only demo I think I'm going to do. But it's just to show you how easy it is. Let's see, I want to drop in a chart, and I want it to be a pie chart. So I'm going to add my chart. And then I go here, and you double-click to edit the data. So you can upload, well, yeah, right here. You can load your own data from a CSV or an Excel file, and edit your chart however you want. You can drop images in there. You can drop, what else can you do? There's this thing, add a map. You can add a map if you want to. And then once you do that, you can drill down to what you want your map to show, whether it's just, you know, USA or Italy or the Northern Hemisphere. And there you go. I don't know where this data comes from. I think it's pre-populated from the application, and you can change it. So that's kind of slick. It also allows you to, once you create your infographic, it gives you an embed link to drop into your website. And most of these tools do that as well. You can either, well, I shouldn't say this about all of them. Most of them you can download an actual file like that, which is advantageous. I'll talk about that later. But all of them at least give you an embed link. So you don't have to send people to the Infogram website and then back to your website. You can drop your asset right into your web page, wherever that happens to be. Let's see. So one thing about Prezi I don't particularly care for. You got to start and restart unless I'm doing it wrong. Screener, that's a in-browser screencast tool. So you don't need any external software to do a screencast of a website that you've worked on or whatever. You just open up your browser, you click the record button, it gives you a little rectangle that you can zoom in and out and move around to highlight your content, and then you're recording. And again, it offers you either a download option or an embed option. Google Drive is just a good place for dropping PDFs and stuff as you create them. Online Chart Tool is, yeah, I didn't bring that one up. Online Chart Tool is, it's just if you want to create a pie chart real quick, you just want to drop it into your narrative somehow. You go to Online Chart Tool, you type in your values, and poof, you've got a nice little pie chart. Throw that into your, grab the PNG or the JPEG and put it into your website. So it's good for quick and easy charts. iCharts.net is a little bit more robust, and I didn't bring that one up either, I'm sorry. But it allows you to do interactive charts. So you can upload your data in CSV or Excel format, and then start playing around with your charts. And maybe it looks better as a stacked bar, or 100% stacked bar, or a pie, or a donut. Then you can allow people to drill down into your charts and hover over bars, and little things will pop up. So it's a bit more engaging than just a static chart. And sometimes those are helpful. Lucidchart is and Diagramly are two really good diagramming and flowchart editors. So if you have a flow that you want to visualize somehow, that's a good place to do it. And SlideShare, I think most of us are familiar with that. It's just online slideshow. So I've never used it, to be honest with you. What I do know is that you go there, you create your slideshow, and again, you can embed the slideshow right into your web page. So you don't have to send people over to watch the slideshow and then come back to your website. It's all right there.
Jeff, are all
Yes.
these free?
Yes, they are. I tried to find tools that at least had a free entry-level account.
Okay.
And I did enough research to find out that they're free indefinitely. It's not like a 30-day trial or whatever. And I think they would work for anything that most of us are going to do.
Jeff,
Yes?
the Behance, would that be a place if you did it right that you could do your entire CRI portfolio, since it's kind of set up to be a work portfolio?
You could. You could. I would be a little concerned. Well, my thoughts, let's go back and look at it and actually get into an actual work. I'm just concerned about all this stuff on the right, all this stuff on the top. I'm thinking again of your reviewers, and are they gonna, what are they gonna do here? Do they need to click this to do something? And it just seems a little bit prone to confusion is my only issue with it. But there's no reason you couldn't do that. But yeah, from a usability standpoint, I think there's just too much on the screen to make it a dedicated portfolio. But I don't know. There may be a way to actually blow this up full screen. I've never come across it, but perhaps there is. Let's see. So any other questions before, boy, why does it blow up like that? There we go. Before I move on from the creation tools. Okay. We're almost there. Oh, we are there. How about that? So some parting thoughts. This is, as I mentioned earlier, this really isn't for everyone. If your portfolio lends itself nicely to print, just stick with print. There's no truly compelling reason to put it online if it doesn't belong online or if it would work just as well in a binder. Here's the real sticky one, and Ella might interrupt me on this one, I'm not sure, but successful portfolios need to stick around for a few years, and I have heard 10 years.
I think that we're going to need to do some talking.
Yeah. So at least a few years. You'll need a binder of some sort. So all this talk about getting rid of the binder is sort of, no, you need a binder, a little one. And what I did with mine was I printed my candidate statement, and my narrative. Basically everything other than evidence. So I didn't print off any of my Behance stuff. I don't think I printed my infographic. I think I printed all of my letters of recommendation, just so those were in there. And that's it. So you print up one of those and put it in the shelf in there in the mailroom, and that should be good for you. I also burned mine to a CD-ROM because I'm that way, but I think it was a pretty complicated endeavor to convert everything to a CD-ROM, and so that's not a place that typically we want to go. So something to remember while we're on this point is, we're all pretty aware of the transient nature of the web. So I do remember a few years back when Flickr was purchased by Yahoo, I think it was. My wife, she's not a professional photographer, but she takes billions and billions of photos and puts them up on Flickr, and that's what she likes to do. Well, when Yahoo bought Flickr, they chopped off like 60% of her stuff. Just poof, gone. We're sorry. You've exceeded the limits of our free account. We're terribly sorry. And that's like, well, thanks, for the warning. And she doesn't use Flickr anymore. But, a little anecdote to say, you don't know how long your stuff's going to be there, really. You don't know when Behance is going to say, oh, yeah, we want you to cough up $10 a month to keep your portfolio active. You just don't know. So, and I think my sense is we're still kind of working this out, but we do need to find a way to integrate the ability to do online portfolios and the ability to keep them around for a while, because other TR employees want to see what you've done. And yeah, so they want to see what got you promoted. Online tools can be a massive black hole of productivity. We all know that, especially if you got the Facebook tab open. But that is a time sink. But they can. And back to formatting. A lot of times I will spend more time than I should trying to nudge a title 8 pixels to the left or to the right, and it's very frustrating. And you look up and 2 hours have gone by and you really haven't gotten anything done. You've just moved your title 8 pixels to the right and turned the rest of your text blue. But so just be careful. Again, go back, sit down for an afternoon and try the tools. See if they're going to work. See if they frustrate you. See if you can actually create something with them. If you can't, throw it away. Try another tool. Or don't, abandon that idea altogether. Move on with your content. Probably the good thing to do is to go a step further than an outline with your narrative and your supporting evidence and sort of flesh it out. At least you've got that done. If all else goes to heck, you can work, spend a few hours on your text, print it up, put it in a binder, and you're good to go. So don't get caught in the black hole of productivity. Don't expose sensitive data. A lot of us work with data that is sensitive. Either it's student level, child level data. That's typically what I would encounter, and Patty as well. Don't let it get out there in your screencasts or your screenshots. Either figure out a way to redact it or don't do it at all. Because even your reviewers can't really be exposed to a lot of this data. And listen to your mentoring committee. They're good people, they're smart, they have good ideas, and they really have your best interest at heart. They've done this before, they know the pitfalls, and they want to see you succeed. So as I mentioned with Christina and my infographic, that was really cool. I appreciated that she did that. And it was smart. So, talk to them regularly and listen to what they have to say. And most of all, have fun with it and be creative. And that's all. Thank you. Yes, Rand.
So, do you think it would be helpful or just another layer to have to wade through if you were to do like a screencast introduction of how to navigate your e-portfolio for your committee?
Yeah.
Here's some of the highlight areas that I want to make sure that you cover. Here's how you navigate through things. Just kind of an overview, not necessarily point by point that you're going to want them to read through all of it. But just an overview of how to.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. After you've got your website set up and your evidence, put wherever you're going to put it, do a screencast of the whole thing. Bring everything up in your browser, start your screencast record, and walk your reviewers through it. That's a good idea.
And that was one of the things I was wondering about too. If you have your reviewers at very different levels, how do you make sure you have it checked out by enough people beforehand to know what kinds of things are going to get someone thought, well, that would be a really good way to get around all this.
And I think too, your mentoring committee is good for stuff like that. I would say I didn't meet with my mentoring committee nearly enough. It would have been nice to have met with them right before I finished this and said, hey, go through it end to end and tell me what you think is bad, good. But I didn't do that, but I would recommend doing it.
Jeff, I want to thank you incredibly because you not only talked about it, but you brought all sorts of things to my mind that I'm going to try and do in my presentation 2 weeks from now, which is make it much more interesting for the audience to see what it all means. I mean,
Cool.
I can actually do this. You showed me that it's possible. So I'm almost wondering, for all of those people who are in this room that aren't doing that for promotion this year, but still want to learn those tools, if we could ask Jeff maybe to come to one of our technology meetings where we show and tell, and actually let us all play with the real computers and do that, if you would be willing to.
I got to learn the tools first. Most of them I haven't actually used.
And it's not fair to put that on you, but I'm almost thinking if you're in the room with us and we're
Yeah.
all playing around individually, we can be sharing and talking about something that we each have a totally different perspective and need for.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to do that. That would be fun.
So maybe we'll, that group is meeting this afternoon, so hopefully we'll come up with.
Oh.
some-
Okay. I think I have another meeting or
A
two.
question and a thought. It seems that as we collectively move more into a electronic environment, an online environment, there are aspects of what we do that we put on websites, that we upload, that we have in screencasts or YouTube videos or all of that. And I would be very interested in what people have done to keep that so that they can share it, right? Because that's what you want to do in your portfolio. You want to share your work. And now it's not just textual. It's not just on paper. I wrote an article or I did a presentation. Now it's, well, wow, I contributed to design, not even designing, but putting things up on this web area. I wrote that piece, but I might not have mechanically put it up on the web. So trying
Right.
to get those types of things, or I created a YouTube video that provided technical assistance on something. Well, it might not be my voice, but there's a part of what I did in there. So how to capture that, and I'm interested in people's thoughts around that. And Jeff, how you keep a history of it.
Sure. Well, I think keeping a history of it, that's an interesting point, because there are a couple of websites that I showcased in my portfolio that are gone, and that's part of the transient nature of the web that we talked about, and I'm glad I captured them when I did. And that's why also I didn't say, hey, to see my work, go to this website, childdisabilityconnection.org, because it's not there anymore. And so that's you capture it through screencasts and screenshots, annotate as you need to, and do it that way. That way you've got control of the media. You don't have to rely on whether or not a YouTube video is suddenly private or was taken offline by YouTube or taken offline by the creator. Yeah, get as much as you can into your own possession and your control, and then you can do with it as you need to. Does that help? Okay.
Yes, and I would encourage people to really think about that. I mean, as you might be going, oh, I'm not going to go up for promotion for 2 or 3 more years, but you're going to want stuff that you did this year. So keep that in the back of your mind about, wow, I need to make sure I have a copy of it somewhere, whether it's on the iDrive or wherever.
Yeah.
Dropbox.
Blogging is probably, and I'm talking to myself as much as anybody, but blogging is probably not a bad way to kind of keep that current. Get your own blog and start dropping stuff on there, not necessarily for anybody else to see, but to sort of keep a history of what it is that you're doing. And that way, when it comes time to write your portfolio, you go to your blog and, hey, there's everything, kind of lay it out. I just pretty it up a bit and I'm good to go. So, any other questions?
I will also throw out there that WOU offered to develop a WordPress blog for any faculty member on campus, and Scott Carter was willing to do that. So, you're welcome to contact him, have that set up for yourself or private. You don't have to share them with anybody. If you want it to have a WOU component within it so that it says Western Oregon University within that. He
sent that out, I don't know, maybe a month ago, something like that, maybe before Christmas.
Mhm.
But I'm sure he's still doing it, so if you're interested and you want it to have WOU as part of the title of it, get in touch with him and he can create that. And then you put
Yeah.
anything up that you want on it.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.